What are you blowing that for?
They don't work if you suck them.
Did you?
Pardon? What?
I feel like Captain Mannering now here. Did you say yes to that part immediately, the part of Corporal Jones?
Oh, no, I didn't say yes.
Yeah.
No. I waited at least 3 minutes. Now, to be honest, I didn't. I'd just been in a show that I wasn't very good in, and I thought, I don't want to go in another show I'm not very good in. So I waited a minute and asked my wife, because she tells me what to do, and then I asked John the Measure, and he said, I think I'm going to do it. And when he said he'd do it, I did it, and we all done it.
And you all done it very well.
Yeah, can I play you a tune, please?
I wish you would.
Well, when I was... I didn't tell you about when I was in North Africa, did I?
No.
No. Well, have you got an hour or two? Anyway, me and my friend, because I had a lot of friends out there, as you can imagine, we were in the place there with the desert, and an officer came in and he said, General Gordon wants to be relieved. And I thought, oh, that sounds like a nice job. So I said, I'd like to volunteer to relieve General Gordon. He said, well, you'll have to join the Camel Corps. Well, that was bad news for me and my mate, because we didn't like camels. They dribble a lot and give you psoriasis of the elbows. So anyway, he said, you've got to have a medical exam. My friend went in there. I'm being as quick as I can. My friend went in and had the medical exam, and the doctor said, well, you needn't go in the Camel Corps. So he come out, he said, I'm not going in. I said, why? He said, because I have to wear this truss. So I said, couldn't I borrow it, please? So he lent me the truss, and I went in, and the doctor said, you've got to go in the Camel Corps. So I said, why? He says, how long have you worn that? So I told a little white lie. I said, about 6 years. He said, you're definitely going in the Camel Corps. Anyone can wear a truss upside down for 6 years, can ride a camel.
I mean, Arthur Lowe was pretty famous for being, at times, an irascible character. I mean, difficult man, but a great actor.
Oh.
But, I mean, do you have a story about Arthur, any of you? Probably all of you.
All of us have many stories about Arthur.
But I'm saying he wasn't an irascible man.
No.
I mean, he was Captain Mannering, but the difference was he burst his own bubble. He didn't have 6 people around him to burst the bubble.
Yeah,
he was a joyous man.
Oh, marvellous.
Wonderful. You got a story then. Go on, you got a story.
Well, I mean, it's not so much that what happened when we were doing the shows, but what happened off. I mean, one day he came in, and he didn't know the words terribly well, did he? One episode. And David said...
Only one episode.
He was very good when we came to do it. However, and David said, have you got your script, Arthur? He said, no, I think I left it in the home, I think. I can't remember now. And he said, oh, I see. Well, next day, David gave him 6 scripts. And he said, there you are. He said, there's one for you to leave in the bus, one for you to leave in the toilet, one for you to leave in the rehearsal room, one for leaving the down, whatever you want to do with him. So he said, oh, thanks very much. He said, why did you go to hire a car, Arthur? He said, well, I prefer to come by bus. Really a fine mode of transport, you know, the bus. He said, the only trouble is, he said, 6 come at a time, and if you miss those, you've got to wait an hour and a half. He says, well, get a car. He said, no, fine. I'll come to the Underground tomorrow. And he gave him another script to leave on the Underground. It was amazing fellow, but I mean, by the end of the week, he'd learned it, hadn't he?
Yeah. Almost.
Well, almost.
What about your story?
But all those bits...
That was it.
Oh, what is it?
Well,
yes, I heard the end
you
of
see,
that.
he asked me a story up in hospitality, and he's used it.
Oh. Well, I heard the...
How very typical of actors.
Do you know, it's never happened to me before in my life.
Not at all.
Especially with
the end
Patrick.
of that was that David Cross said, now take the script home and learn it. Don't put it in the desk, take it home and learn it. He said, certainly not. I'm not having a rubbish like that in my house.
Was Hodges based on your own war experiences?
Well, the character was written like this, sort of rather. Well, he was a greengrocer, wasn't he, with dirty fingernails, and he was...
Of course, Jones, he was a butcher.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right, absolutely. We all had various...
And you worked in the bank?
I worked in the bank.
Worked in the bank.
With Uncle Arthur?
With Uncle Arthur.
Yeah.
He went in and played a trick on Captain Manning one day. He said, hands up, this is a cock-up. And Manning says, you mean it's a stick-up? He said, no, it's a cock-up, I've forgotten my gun.
You can't beat the old ones.
Always leave on a tune.
I thought Bill Purty was the subtle performer.
Well, there was a chap that I knew during the war, a Mr. Martin, who was a very nice man during the day, and at night he went mad. Put that helmet on and rushed around shouting, "Get down in the shelter! Grid, you get down there!" And we were in the shelter. And he'd bang on the door saying, "Don't argue with me, get in the shelter." I mean, and he was really sort of what every warden was. But they did a good job, the wardens, during the war.
Yeah.
They went in with all the bombs and the rubble and everything else. I must tell you about Arthur, who we
thought you would, yeah.
Here, are they going to do any repeats of Dad's Army?
Funny you should mention
Somebody should mention that.
Yeah.
Well, we'll find out, because before we
you asked
leave
somebody.
the Home Guard, I'd like you to meet the writers.
Don't they look old, David? Don't we all look old? Not just them. It's a trendy
Just
colour,
them.
isn't it?
It is a trendy
colour.
But you see, he was playing old men when he was young. And people always thought you were very old, because you played Jonesy and you played Grandad.
Yeah.
And you were only about 68.
That's right. I started when I was...
Terry, when we were doing the radio series, Clive did it without his makeup on. And he always used to do a joke. You remember those tablets they gave us in the First World War to take our mind off women?
Yes.
And you used to say, what did you used to say?
I think mine are beginning to work.
He'd forgotten, Terry, that he hadn't got any makeup on. There was this smart young man doing the
Well, the idea obviously came from your own wartime experiences, did it?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was, Jimmy's mainly. He brought it to me.
Yeah.
I've been a warden, actually, so I'm Hodges.
Yeah.
And Jim had actually been in the Home Guard.
Who were you then? If you were Hodges, who were you?
I was Ian, actually. I was
Yes,
Pike.
he told me that halfway
I
through
was
the first
15,
series.
actually, Terry, when I was in the Home Guard.
Yeah.
And I remember being on Barnes Common with this old soldier who'd fought in the Battle of Omdurman in 1898. And
I know a story about
yes,
that. Oh, right.
That's what we based the cage on. And I said, what are we going to... I was only a kid. I said, what are we going to do if the Germans come? If the Germans come, son, you'll do as you're told.
What did the higher-ups think of the series when you first broached it, or indeed when you had the first series?
It didn't sort of take off straight away. And there was the thought that perhaps we were taking the mickey out of England's finest hour. So they weren't all that keen, really. But Bill Cotton was solidly behind it. Yeah. And he sort of saw it through for us, and so...
That often happens to some of the
Michael
most...
Mills, yeah.
It Ain't Half Hot Mum was the same, wasn't it? That took
It was a bit,
couple,
yes.
couple of series.
It's the same when you started, wasn't it?
No.
Yeah, quite, yes.
It wasn't.
Terry, David, tell him that story. Well, we had lunch with Arthur Lowe, and David said, would you like to do this part?
Oh, yes.
And tell him the rest, David. So we were in the BBC restaurant.
Yes.
Go on, you tell him the rest, David.
I'll work you.
Oh, that's David.
No, dear Arthur, you know, he sat down and he said, we just about ordered. And I said, well, you know, you like television? Do you want to do this sort of thing? He says, well, yes, I'm very keen, but I must tell you the sort of programme I don't want to do is Hugh and I. I was the director of Hugh and I.
So I can't stand that rubbish.
Can't stand that rubbish.
Wasn't it a civilised atmosphere on the set with all these fine actors?
Oh, no.
No. Armed neutrality. It was,
Well,
actually.
can I tell you?
Yeah.
The
Were
first
they
day-
jealous of each other's...
Well,
Yes,
Yeah,
just a bit. Well, they knew any one of them could kill each other, you know, so they behaved very
More
well.
than that,
actually.
we knew that David could write any one of us out.
they all get...
And I had the power of the close-ups, you see.
Terry, the first day of filming, we were delayed because it was snowing. It was supposed to be summer. And David, about 11:30, he said, I think we'll go for a shot in about 10 minutes. Go and tell them. And it's a terrible swank pot. He had his Rolls Royce there. And they were all crammed in this Rolls Royce. And the windows were all steamed up. And I opened the door, and they're all sitting in there. And I said, full of enthusiasm, I said, right, fellas, 10 minutes. We're going for a take, the first take for Dad's Army. And Arthur said, we'll come when we're ready. And I closed the door, and I went back to David. I said, we've got a right miserable load of old sods here.
John the Major, that bit of John's where you should say, do that, before he actually spoke. That was not affectation, that was waiting for the camera to be fair and square on him before he spoke.
Well, you see, he would you'd cut to a close-up, he'd be looking around looking at the lights, actually.
Yes.
Well, it looked like acting.
Before we shot a bit of film sequence, David said, go and take them through their lines. Because Clive did. He never used to learn their lines. I used to point to them. You, and rehearse them with their lines that way, too.
Yes.
You're not coming to
Signal,
my
and I-
restaurant in Quatira. You're not coming to it. Only
What's
very
it called?
It's called the Cafe Royale.
Oh,
You're all
God.
welcome. You're all welcome.
They were lovely. They were lovely.